Hi, I'm Bran, and I love When Calls the Heart.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I like When Calls the Heart.
I'm Dan, and I despise When Calls the Heart, and this is the
Deck the Hallmark
Deck the Hallmark.
Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. The party people.
Man. Nothing like a 10 p.m. recording
Well,
of When Calls the Heart. A week
right.
before, not even a week before, we'll be up all night watching and reviewing Hallmark.
that's exactly right. Now, for those of you that are listening to this on Thursday, congratulations. You've made it to the final day of non-Christmas movie season.
You did it.
And I got to say,
Somehow you made it those 9.5 months.
all right, I can't with you right now.
Somehow you made it to the week before Halloween.
You're insufferable. You're an insufferable human being.
I'm the insufferable
Yes.
one. Yeah, of course.
There are millions.
Millions. Of them.
Millions like me.
There are not millions like you. You're one of one, Bran. Don't sell yourself short.
Thank you. But there's a lot of people that like this, and I'm excited about it. And so join us tomorrow, deckthehallmark.com/marathon. 7:30 p.m. Eastern is when we'll be getting started. We'll do a little fun chatter, and then we'll watch the first new movie of the season with Kevin McGarry as well. Lots of Kevin going around. And then we'll be live all night, and we'll go all day on Saturday until the second new movie of the season. Very excited.
Yeah, it is.
Very excited.
It's that time of year.
And Dan, we always raise money for a charity. Do you want to say who we're raising money for this
a
year?
little charity called Kids in the Spotlight.
Kids, I wrote a song for them. Kids in the spotlight. There's a spotlight. There's a kid. Kids in the spotlight. Here we are. Here it is.
And I hope they'll still let us be their sponsor after that.
Kids in the spotlight. Having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kids in the spotlight. Man, they're number one.
That was good. That wrapped up actually quite nicely, Bran.
It did not. It's an organization that helps foster kids who are interested in the world of film, TV, and theater production, acting, writing, directing, gives them an opportunity to pursue that as a full-time occupation.
What's it called?
Kids in the Spotlight.
Kids in the spotlight.
Yeah. Kids in the Spotlight.
Having a real good time.
Kids in the Spotlight. That's what
I think it's going to be fine.
you think it's gonna be fine?
Yeah, like
you sound like we're at like some sort of disaster movie. Like they're out, Clooney's out there on the ship, and there's
I realize how that came.
Wave.
I meant
but
the
I
marathon.
Think they're gonna be fine.
I meant the marathon. I think the marathon's gonna be fine, but now I know.
Yeah.
How that
It's
came.
a great organization. They produce over 850 films. They've helped thousands of kids find a passion that they can pursue as adults, and they're in the process of building a school just for this purpose. So we're really excited to partner with them.
Yeah, we are. Kids in the spotlight. Kids in the spotlight. Also coming out today.
It's going to be
It's going to be fine. Also coming out today is our ranking episode, ranking all the movies thus far, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow's episode 1000 with our season 6 kickoff.
Can you believe that, Jax?
1,000 episodes. You guys, I'm really, really proud of you.
1,000 episodes. You're on episode 999 right now.
Or 998. I don't know how it came out.
God.
1,000
But I already-
tomorrow.
Okay.
What
Still.
how many you Bubbly Sesh, you guys, how many?
I mean, it felt like we did 1,000. I feel. I would guess probably around 350.
Yeah, you guys, I was about to say, because you were releasing daily there for like a year or two, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's all a blur.
Let's talk about When Calls the Heart, the season 10 finale. We watched it live with the people. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
And so this is the freshest we've ever been doing a When Calls the Heart, I think. We just watched it. Now we're rolling right into recording. The episode is called...
Still the one.
Still the one.
Still the one.
Jax, what's it called?
The one that I run to, the one that I belong to.
The one that I belong. Oh.
too.
No, it's called Starry Night.
Oh, I was close.
Second guess.
Yeah.
Still the One. If they really had watched Nathan and Elizabeth, they would know that it should be called Still the One.
Be safe. I honestly, guys, I didn't know about Be Safe until this week.
That's
this
because it's not a real thing, Brand. They made it up. People watching the show
I love it,
made it up.
No, but that is it's a way to express. It's
Great,
like when people are
great.
like, text me when you
But
get
it's
home. That means I love you.
It's subtext.
Yeah, but it's like when we say
It's not text, it's subtext.
Oh yes,
Okay.
yes, it's subtext.
it's like when we say vroom vroom to you.
The reason that you didn't know it is because it isn't text. It
Vroom,
didn't
vroom.
happen in the show. It's subtext. That's why you didn't know it. Okay, so you're normal, all right? That's the you. It wasn't.
Kids in the spotlight, having a real good time. October 15th, 20.
It's gonna be fun.
I think it's gonna be fun. 2023, and it went a little something like this. We're 3 weeks after Elizabeth ripped Lucas's heart out and stomped on it right outside the train station. The election is here, everybody. She's at school, and the kids are like, what are we supposed to do? Because we like Lucas, but also we feel like we should hate him because clearly he must have broken up with you, right? And she's like, no, he's great. Sometimes you realize that you were never in love with your fiance. Leah and Rosemary are talking about Gowan maybe being baby Goldie's godfather. The godfather. You come to me. I'll kill you. You come to me in a mine. Having a real good time. Kids in the spotlight. It's going to be fine. Gowan says, yeah, man, that's a hard pass for me. Not interested in doing that. But thank you. Nathan and Bill go out on horses because the Pinkertons are back. It's been a few episodes. Joseph talks to Gowan about the Godfather thing again, trying to convince him to do that. And Gowan is still very hesitant. Lucas and Elizabeth talk on the phone, and he's like, thanks for telling me to get on that train because I really do feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to. And if I didn't do this, I know that I would regret it. So thank you for telling me to do it. People try to shield Elizabeth from all the Lucas posters that are plastered around town. And she's like, I'm fine. I can handle this. She then has a heart-to-heart with Gowan about forgiveness, about blowing stuff up. It's a very nice scene, and it is right below the Starry Night. It's election day, and apparently some people didn't vote, and we are down to the last hour. So they corral as many people as possible that don't have the I voted buttons to get their buttons in a voting booth and vote. Nathan shows up last minute, and he and Elizabeth finally talk, one booth to the next booth. And he's just kind of like, sorry, I overstepped. And she's like, no, you didn't. And, he's like, good night. It's baptism time. Gowan shows up. Yay. It's a delight. We love that. Then we find out the election results. Lucas wins.
Hey, he did it.
He did it, everybody. Elizabeth celebrates by going outside and seeing that a light is on, so she follows that light, and it is Gowan again. Another heart-to-heart. He talks about how he's a new man and how he is
a born-again Christian.
He's a new man. Yeah, sure. And that he has always been and is still currently in love with Abigail. He doesn't say that verbatim, but I think we all picked up on that.
That's subtext. Like, be safe.
Be safe. Abigail's the love of my life. Frickum and May finally share their feelings.
Hey.
How you feeling about that, Jax?
Waiting for.
I'm really happy for them.
We see then Lucas. It's nighttime. Cut to Lucas in Capital City.
Ugh.
And a bright light shines on him. And he says, what are you doing here?
Kids in the spotlight.
You get it. Elizabeth goes and has a heart-to-heart with Ghost Jack. He's not there. We can't see him, but we know he's there. He's always there. Ghost Jack is number one in our hearts.
Yes.
Then we see Gowan. get out of a vehicle or out of a horse. I don't know. But we see Stanton.
A. Stanton.
A. Stanton.
He's at Alex Stanton's house. It was mean of him to do that to everybody.
Stanton on the mailbox, knocks on the door. Camera switches to being inside. Door opens, and he goes, Alex Stanton. No, he goes, Abigail. Cut. That's it. That's all we get. Elizabeth is now sitting on a log, which apparently is a very important log.
It's the Be Safe log.
It's the Be Safe log. I have a Be Safe log. I've been keeping a log. I've been keeping a log myself of all the times I said Be Safe. Nathan comes up on his horse, and he's like, Elizabeth. And not Abigail. Elizabeth is like, what are you doing here, Nathan? And he's like, I don't know. And they just kind of look at each other for a little bit, and then Bill shows up. It's like, Nathan, we need you. And Nathan's like,
we need both of you.
We need both of you. We need both of you.
It's Lucas.
It's Lucas. They hop on their horses. They head back into town. And that, my friends, was When Calls the Heart, Season 10, Episode 12, Starry Nights.
We did it.
We did do it. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. And, I don't know, just kind of hang out a little bit.
Let's do it.
We'll just hang out here on Deck the Hallmark. We're back. Hello, everybody. We're talking about When Calls the Heart, the Season 10 finale, Be Safe. And we're having a lot of fun. And I'm excited to break this episode down with my friends here. And we're going to start with the hot take. It is where we share exactly how we felt about this episode. We do not hold back, and I will start with you, Jax. Jax, Season 10 finale. Give it to me.
Season 10 finale. This episode was good. It was solid. However, definitely wasn't a fly Jax to Greenville to watch it in person kind of episode. So I'm.
Can you imagine if you were here all week after that?
Well, we would have had fun. We would have had fun.
No, don't get me wrong. We would have had a
Seems
blast.
like you didn't
it was a
want...
blast watching it together. No, wait, what? Sorry,
Well,
Brand, did that hurt your feelings?
Well, it just
You're still the one.
seems like you didn't want to be here at all.
I get what you're saying, Jackson. I would love to see you, but I get what you're saying.
I think I was ready. I think I expected the engagement to end in this episode. I was ready for the explosiveness, but they did give us to that in the they gave us all that in the penultimate episode. I think this one was solid. I think there was some really good acting in it. I was really excited about May and Hickam getting together, and the cliffhanger I do think is pretty exciting. So all in all, it wasn't great in terms of a finale, but I thought that it was a very solid, good episode.
Yeah, I liked this episode mainly for the last 5 minutes. A lot happens. They do set up, in typical When Calls the Heart fashion, they set up the next season in such a way that makes me go, next season's going to be the one. Next season is going to be special.
You're right. They do this. They know how to do it
every time, Jax. You stop.
Yep.
They do it every time. They do it every They do it every time. And here we are again. What the heck's going on with Lucas? Are we going to see Abigail next season? So many questions to set up another, what will most likely be a disappointing season of television. But I'm here to get hurt, just like Lucas. And
Can we backtrack for a second? You say they do this every time. When is the last time, aside from season 1, where this show ended on an actual cliffhanger like this? I don't think it ever has.
I don't think a cliffhanger, but they do stuff where it's like, okay.
They never ended the last episode with they want you to think someone's life is in peril and a big character might be coming back. They've never done that in 10 seasons, have they?
No, but I think what Bran is saying, which I agree with, is you're just like, maybe this time.
Oh, they're giving you hope. That's what you're talking about. Okay. My bad. That's on me.
Each time.
I thought you meant the cliffhanger.
It's gonna be this.
I'm just talking about hope, man. They're just giving me hope.
Valley. Yeah.
If you go back to our podcast that you're currently listening to,
Brand's tired, everybody. Give him a break.
If you go back and you listen to the season finales, I'm sure you will hear me say, I'm excited for next season.
Next year's going to be the one.
I'm sure it happens. And when Panda was doing this show, it was the same thing.
Same thing.
It was the same thing.
Yeah.
He fell for the trap. Jax falls for the trap.
Right
I think you're falling for the trap a little bit here, but I think you're coming for us as well. Dan, what do you think about this episode?
So I think the big issue here is his last episode was cataclysmic. Like to sell it as anything short as shaking the very foundations of this television program would be underselling it. What they did last episode was something that they've never done in over 100 episodes of television. They did something that they broke their own rules the last episode. And because of that, like the bad news of that is that they didn't agree to the verbal unwritten subtext contract that they have with the viewers. But in doing so, they've opened themselves up to a world of possibilities. So when that episode finished, the reason it kept me awake was, one, I was like, this show had one chip to cash in. It cashed it in. That's terrible. But also it left me with this feeling of now they can do anything they want to do. And they took the opportunity to do anything they wanted to do, and they did nothing. This episode is kind of a nothing burger until the last 5 minutes. They took the opportunity to say, hey, guess what? We've reshuffled the deck. When calls the heart isn't what you think it is anymore. All bets are off. True love isn't necessarily true love. We can do what we want, when we want, how we want to do it. And they took that, and instead it's like the preacher's got writer's block about the baby dedication, and Gowan doesn't want to be the godfather. And, are Hickam and May Sue going to get together? There's more injunctions in these here woods. Like, it was an unfortunate use of the carte blanche to do whatever you wanted to do. Classic cart. Abigail possibly coming back is fun.
Yeah.
The idea that Lucas is hurt physically is what they're intimating here at the end of this.
Yeah, like maybe the
fish money caught up with him.
Well, no, maybe it was the old governor and he shows up. That'd be my guess.
Maybe.
And his cronies, as he called them.
I feel like that was an eye roll for me. The idea that, like, we need you, it's about Lucas. Like, what could they possibly need Elizabeth in Hope Valley for about Lucas at this juncture? There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. We will find out that is a big, like, fake scare, and that was a big eye roll. They just needed something to end that scene with Nathan and Elizabeth. And also, we're 3 full weeks after she ended her 2-year relationship and engagement with the so-called love of her life. So the fact that they didn't make out there at the end, kind of shocking to me. So yeah, I was pretty let down by this episode. But I will tip my cap to Sturman and the gang, because they've never done this before. This show is 10 years. It could be stale, but instead it's new and it's different. And they left you with a cliffhanger. They left you with a lot of possibilities. And for that, I am thankful as someone who is kind of sort of forced to watch this show. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I'm not left feeling as though we did the same thing we always did. So from that perspective, it does get a check for me in comparison to every other finale before it. But in every other aspect of, like, TV making and everything, I thought it was a disaster.
Listen, I'm getting in the rowboat. You're getting in the rowboat. We're all getting in the rowboat. We're going to have ourselves a good season 11. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. A lot of people in the chat are saying Abigail's not coming back. Is that the end of Gowan? Is Gowan just going to...
I will tell you this right now. If they are bold enough to put Abigail's mailbox on the screen and have Henry say hey to Abigail and then not bring her back, this show is worse than I thought it was.
No, it could definitely...
It's gonna be in just like that. Like, for the whole first season, like, talking to Samantha on the phone and you're not gonna see her. And then the second season event just like that. Yeah, and that was the whole first season, and then the second, and she sends flowers when Big dies, and then the second season,
Big dies. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I don't know what the show movie is.
But you can listen to my Hallmarkies podcast if you wanna do that.
Oh, this is a Sex in the City thing.
Yeah, we try to keep it TVG over here, Jax. So
sorry, Schmex and the Schmitty.
Just like that. I think I'm allowed to say that.
Okay.
in the second season, they had her do one scene that she filmed by herself. Now, obviously, that's not the issue with Lori Loughlin, but I'm wondering, it reeked of that to me. Like, they're not going to show it, but they're making us be like, oh, the character is still alive. We're just not going to use the actor again.
You know what? This, like, now that you said all that, this episode was very much a microcosm of this entire season. They wasted the majority of the runtime of this season doing absolutely nothing. And then they crammed all of the plot into the last 10% of the season, like the last 1.5, 2 episodes. And then this episode is very much like that. Not much happens. And in the last 5 or 10 minutes, you get a lot of like haymakers. And much of it will not amount to anything in my estimation. But it's different than how we normally end seasons of When Calls the Heart. So there's that.
It's time for All the Feels, where we're talking about what gave us those feels. Jax.
I had some feels. Something that my acting teacher used to say is when you play with better ball players, you play better ball. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he used a sports metaphor for a bunch of like theater nerds, but that's what he said. Yeah, he said ball players. I don't think he knew what he was talking about with sports either. But with that being said, I think that the two scenes with Elizabeth and Gowan, I think this is like Erin Krakow at her very best, especially in the first scene with Gowan. I think it's lovely. The acting is knock it out of the park. I loved it. Of course, I think the adorableness between Mesu and Hickam, I'm all in for that. And I will say, you guys, the scene with Elizabeth and Nathan, I like how they're both in their voting box thing. And then he comes behind her and he's like, good night. Like, I'm feeling it. It was great. I was feeling.
Well, and if you actually go back, he has said good night.
And when he says good night, what he means is
a lot of times. Yeah. And if you actually look at that, if you look at it,
it's subtext.
If you look at it and you play it backwards, play him saying good night backwards.
And this is why all the Team Nathan people were so upset in season 8.
And you'll pick it up.
As crystal.
You'll pick it up.
They do have chemistry.
They do have.
They've got a
chemistry. Good Lord.
Listen.
Good
as
Lord.
much hassle as I give Team Nathan, folks, there is not. They are not wrong about the chemistry read. They're not wrong about that. They're not wrong about.
When I thought he was going to like just be like, "Can I join you in your voting booth?"
Yeah, to say that,
like the chemistry was wild.
Elizabeth belongs with Nathan. Like, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with that based upon chemistry. But there's a perceived slight for Team Nathan. There's an actual slight for Team Lucas, right?
You know what I think about that, and like lots of Team Nathan, Sheila especially, but so many people have pointed to all the things that the writers have done to show that it should have been Nathan. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but I think they're hobbling that together, all that evidence, because the chemistry is so strong. And it's so good. And I almost think that's more meaningful to actually be like, despite even what the writers put in there, or despite what was quote unquote supposed to happen, the connection these two actors have as these characters is electric. And I think that that's actually even more important than any of what was supposed to happen or what was actually in the text.
Yeah, the better argument for Team Nathan is just chemistry. Like, you lose me when it's like, you don't understand they were supposed to be together. No, like that's your opinion. Like, the show did not do that. So like, but look, if you want to say, hey, he's got a daughter he's raising, or a niece or whatever that is his daughter, and she's got a son and he's a Mountie and their chemistry's great. Those are all really solid, like, foundational reasons for those two to be together.
Listen, at the end of the day, this is a soap opera and they need to get this to season 50. And she will end up with Nathan, and then season 15, something else will happen. He'll die.
Also, be safe. I mean, it's clear as crystal.
Yeah.
How did we all miss it?
You're right.
You guys. You guys with the be safe.
Be safe.
I like it.
Be safe.
Be safe out there, everybody.
Be safe. Yeah. I mean, listen, it got a big pop for me when Gowan knocked on that door. When I saw the Stanton
you were,
mailbox, I was very excited. I thought we were going to see her, and currently it could be real, it could not be real. Similar to Photoshop, but it's one of those things where you. I'm hoping. I would like for her to come back. I think she
Me too.
I like her and Gowan were just starting to have that thing before the whole incident went down, and so I'd be open to letting that happen again. A lot of people are saying it's not going to happen, but
It's happening. It's happening.
it would be a bold move. A bold
For
move
them not to have her back.
I just love the idea of the writers just being like, let's do it. Can we get her? Doesn't matter. Do it. Well, let's do it, and then we'll worry about it later. We'll worry about it later.
Figure it out later.
I don't know we don't know if she's coming back or not. We're doing it though because it's the season finale, and dadgummit, we got to get Bran excited.
I don't think she would turn it down. I don't think that would be the hurdle.
Exactly. No.
No. I have feelings.
I don't know, man. They went on the record and said not now, not ever.
But what I'm saying is I don't think Lori Loughlin is the one that would be turning this down.
But what I'm saying is if you were worked a long time for a company, you break the law, you go through a tough time, and you hear that company go not now, not ever. When they come and knock, and you're like, has the time come?
But I think
Go ahead, Jax.
Oh no, I just think she loves that cast so much.
100%.
I just imagine imagine the writers. Yeah. I imagine the writers doing it and going like, "Oh, the network might not go for this, but oh well." I imagine them being like, "Is Hallmark going to be weird about this?"
Here's my thing is, and we have a lot of fun here at Deck the Hallmark, and we razz the Lori Loughlin situation. We've done it for years now, and we stand by that because it's not. I think Lori probably, I hope, would appreciate those jokes. We hear nothing but wonderful things about her. Our jokes are being made about the $300,000 rowing bribe. That's where our jokes are made. She's a great actor, and all we hear, everyone that was on this show from When Calls the Heart, Crayco, McNally, McGarry, all of those people were like, she's the best.
Someone
she's
says,
awesome.
Someone says, what if they recast Abigail?
Oh, my goodness.
No.
Everyone loves her. She was like the mom of that set. And so I think she'd do it for them. I don't think it would be her. But, what
Maybe
do I know?
the aunt.
I wouldn't put anything past them. I do have feels. I do just credit where credit's due. They have done such a poor job by the character of Henry Gowan on this show. He was the best bad guy Hallmark's ever had by a mile in season one, particularly. Like, it would have been great if he stayed bad. And then they just made him good without any reckoning or any reconciliation or anything. And this season, under this showrunner, has decided to say, we're going to redeem him, but we're going to have him reckon with everything he's done and process that. This is something that should have been happening back in season 3 or 4. They're finally doing it, and it has rewarded us with some of the best television ever produced by When Calls the Heart. Gowan talking about sitting there and looking at the mine and thinking of the 47 men. That's good stuff, man. That's real character by a real character actor. It's great. It's great television. And so his 2 scenes, man, really good stuff. And him actually, you don't get redemption without reconciling what you've done and talking through that. And I think them doing that for him, it has been the best thing about this season of television. So big time feels for me there.
There you go. Let's take one more quick break. We'll come back and we'll get to the wait what's and the hopes and valleys for the final time this
Somebody
season.
said, too bad that was his last episode, LOL. If that was Martin Cummins' last episode, this should be
Is that out there? Can we do a Google?
Wait, for real?
This show should be blacklisted. Oh my goodness.
Is he
There's
just
no
riding
way
off
that's
into
true.
the sunset, knocking on Abigail's door? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll be right back here on the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about When Calls the Heart, the season 10 finale. It's time for the Wait What. It's where we talk about what in this episode made us go, wait, what? Jax.
I have 2. My first one is technically not from this episode, but it's a wait what on the 3 of us for missing in last week's episode, which we disappointed some double deckers. I disappointed myself. We did not talk about that gosh darn horrific green screen.
Oh, in the woods?
that was in the woods. It was
real bad.
one of the so bad, and I couldn't stop laughing at it. So I know some of the double deckers are upset that we missed it. So that's a big wait.
For a
What
show that
on
uses
us.
the same cabin every season for something different, I just am like, whatever, green screen. But yes, we did miss it.
Right, we
Yeah.
did miss. No, yeah, it's weird. It's weird the things that I feel like I can let go, and like I'm really okay with the cabin. It doesn't bug me at all. But then I see green screen, and like it just took me way out. The other thing was I know that we play very fast and loose on this show with like dates and historical stuff, but we're supposed to be at like 1920. I
Yes,
think, right?
1920, straight up. That is correct.
1920.
Straight up.
And that's the year women got the right to
Yes.
vote. And I think it would have been a cute, funny little thing if they could have made some reference to it in this episode. But they did not. And I thought that was a missed opportunity, especially because the population of Hope Valley, I would say that there's more women than men. So I think they could have had a cute little thing in there, but they didn't. And I went, wait, what?
Well, I'm not 100% on this, Jax, but because it is in Canada,
Oh, right.
I think they got the right to vote earlier than the United States.
Yeah.
I think
they did.
universal suffrage for the United States, 19th Amendment, 1919, first vote, 1920.
And I told Dan this before.
But here's the thing is
Right, yeah. Sorry, yeah, Brent,
of course.
Brent
I told
actually,
him he can
you
share it.
explain
I
better
told him
than
he
Dan.
can
No, I
share
appreciate
it,
that.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, a lot of women were getting suffrage before 1920 in the United States. They were much more progressive on that front. But I believe Canada got it earlier. I could be wrong. That's a guess on my part, but I believe they got it earlier.
You know what's funny every time? Because I was only really reminded that this show took place in Canada when we were talking
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
governor thing. I don't.
Do you think it
I
takes place like
consistently
Washington
forget.
State? Where do you think it takes
Yeah,
place?
yeah, I do. Like I just picture it in this like amorphous floating,
Yeah.
like
It's
kind
more than
of.
fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
More than fair.
yeah.
I got a couple. I am. This episode just made me wonder how big Hope Valley is. Because one, they do that, like Elizabeth and Rosemary are walking down the street one day, and they're like, "Man, I really hope people come out to vote." What do you like? It's like everybody.
There's
like,
50 votes.
What are we
50 votes are
concerned
gonna be
about?
cast. Yes.
But then we get to, and I'm just like, this is whatever. Everyone's going to come out. It's Lucas. Everybody knows Lucas. We get to election day, and there's a whole slew of people
Hundreds.
that we've never seen before. How big is Hope Valley supposed to be? I just don't know. And they have all these people, and then they got people that are just not voting. I just was so confused because I feel like we know everybody in town, and then there's like a handful of people that are extras but this was like, no, Hope Valley extends far beyond what we could have ever thought or imagined. So just was confused, and it did just take me out of that episode. Last but not least, we finally do get Frickum and May, and they share their feelings. And then he does this thing, Dan, where he asks her to dance, and he does this.
It was amazing.
He does this by going like
he
this.
doesn't do this. Like, would
you
you take
like
my
to
hand
dance?
at a hand level? He does it like this. Here's my finger right in your eye.
Would you like to dance?
If you're watching on Philo.tv/DTH, he literally almost jams his finger in her eye.
Would you like to dance?
It was so
It
cute.
wasn't. Narrator, it wasn't.
Dano?
Yeah, I hate to borrow a line from Arrested Development, but has anyone here ever seen an election? Like, I first of all, we find out that Rosemary and Elizabeth are in charge of the entire election in Hope Valley. Not the mayor, not anybody official, just the two people who have been campaigning nonstop for one of the two candidates. Second of all, they decide to show up, and I want to quote here, a few minutes before the polls open. If you're running this thing, that's a problem. And then they have the dumbest idea ever, which is we'll have one voting booth. One. And then also, has Hope Valley never voted on anything before this that wasn't just for Hope Valley? Like, they're all lined up like they've never been to an election before, and they're just voting on one thing, just for the governor of this massive but empty province of Canada. Why do I say massive but empty? Because we hear the totals. And the totals, gang, are they're both in the 7,700. Basically, there's like 15,400 people that voted. And it's a 20-hour train ride to Capital City. So over the course of 20 hours of train ride, only 15,000 total people voted in this election. I am sorry. Either this is the biggest barren wasteland. There's more people per square mile in Montana than that. Like, either this is like... you can't have both of those things. You can't have Lucas going, well, I have to live in Capital City. It's a 20-hour train ride away, and only 15,000 people vote in this election total. That's total ballots cast in the entire province. Just be better. Be better at the math. Be better at trying. And then also, they decided to do the old I voted buttons. In 1920, that's got to cost a fortune. That's not cheap. You're not going down and running off stickers on your Cricut machine. You are printing buttons, and you're having them made. Had to be weeks, if not months, in advance. A lot of the election bothered me.
And it's not as effective as it is now with social media, where we can shame and show off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We shame people that haven't voted and show off if we
That's
have.
exactly right.
Of course.
If you're not posting on your stories your little sticker,
It's a
what are you
shame
even
and show
doing?
off situation. I'm big in the shame and show off when it comes to voting, for sure. I love how Lee has this
Just
idea.
voting.
Just voting. That's it. Lee has this idea that he wants Gowan to be Goldie's godfather, and his defense of this is yes, he did kill people in the mine, but have you seen the garden? The garden is incredible. It is like, and it's like, yeah, I know he's done some terrible things, but he made a garden, guys. He made a garden. Elizabeth's class, her students, are all mad at Lucas Bouchard for breaking her heart at the train station. And she has an opportunity to tell all of her students who trust every word she says, no, he didn't break my heart. I broke his heart at the train station. I left him stranded, and I made him get on the train. Does she do that? Nope, sure doesn't. Does she take any of the blame? Nope, she just goes, people fall apart. Classy, real classy there. And then I think that's going to be it for me. I think that's it for me.
It's time for the final Hopes
and Valleys.
Hey guys, it's time for Hopes and Valleys. It's where we talk about the things in this episode that give us hope for the future and or are bumming us out. Jax.
I'm really excited to see Fiona hopefully fall in love with Lucas. They teed it up. Faith is talking to her and saying, are you a matchmaker so you don't have to focus on your own love life? Teed it up perfectly. And I am very much looking forward to see Nathan finally get to kiss a woman on this show. And also Abigail possibly coming back. I'm here for all of it. Honestly, I don't have any valleys other than the fact that Ted seems not to want to return my phone call. So I guess it's going to be soon for season 11.
So before this episode ended and Gowan, knocked on Abigail's door, I had this thought about how, do you remember one of my hopes early on in the season was, I wonder if Abigail's going to come back, because they're like, Abigail's going to come in and she's going to be in the wedding, and we're like, wow, we're doing this thing. And I had this thought that was never going to happen, because they knew that she was not going to end up with, there was going to be no wedding. So let's just write Abigail's name in there, because we know that will never happen. And so that was a valley, but now I have hope because he knocked on the door. And I will say, they could very well, that could be the end. Gowan could move out of Hope Valley, marry and move in with Abigail, and pop into Hope Valley every once in a while, and that could be the thing we get. It very well could be, but there's been too much mention of Abigail, and then showing the mailbox. I just feel like there's going to be something there. I'm hopeful that it is, and we'll see. And I am my valley is that another season has gone by and there has been no Ghost Jack.
No Ghost Jack.
But there's always next season, and here's to hoping. Dano?
The show's been hopeless for a long time. My valley is that inevitably episode 1 of season 11 will be 3 minutes, maybe 5, explaining that Lucas is fine. And then 40 minutes of some like inane plot, like the mercantile's running low on oranges. Or there's a shortage. We don't have enough electricity for the. It's just I know it. I know it's gonna happen, and I hate it already. That they're gonna go they're gonna build all this up, and then they're just gonna shift hard back down into first gear, and we're gonna have some plot line where it's like the new Model T just came out.
What if next season opens up with like Lucas in a body cast, and Elizabeth's like, well, now that I know you're not safe,
damn,
can we?
Oh.
Because the whole thing was like, I think he was a safe choice. Well,
man, what a time.
Body bag Brouchard is not such a safe choice anymore.
Brouchard, but I like
but it was, and it just happened.
Good.
So I don't know either.
Sure.
Do we have a What's Called My Heart email, Dan? Last one of the season.
Aaron sent this to me, and I read who it was from, and I need to tell you.
Which, by the way, real quick, last week we had a What's Called My Heart.
That's right.
It was.
And I got to follow up.
You got to follow up.
She emailed me and explained that there's a bit they do in her, like, I don't know if it's her family or somewhere, where when somebody says, tell me about it, the person that you say it to basically has to make up a story about it. Like when you say, tell me about it, you're like, all right. And then you like, it was a young child who blah, blah, blah. And that was the bit she was doing. And we never caught that.
But it probably
That was
yes.
it probably
bad.
crushed
That was
for
our
her
bad.
family.
That's
though.
right. Yes, exactly. So we did get an
Which I love
explanation
that.
there.
Great,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
I'm seeing this, and I need to go ahead and tell you, I know where this is going. I can tell you already where it's going. And after I read this, and you are all real mad at me. I've not read the whole email, but I can tell you where it's going.
Oh, no.
I want to explain my side of the story.
Oh my god!
And my side
what is happening?
Won't make it much better, but it will help a little bit.
Okay.
And I think producer Aaron saved this for the end on purpose. This is from Sam Christmas. Okay. Christmas is his last name.
Kick off tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, kickoffs tomorrow, of course. You can email us, and we're going to need some more emails. Producer Aaron's telling me this is our last one for next season. Wow. hello@deckthehallmark.com, telling us what's calling your heart. Hello, Bran, Dan, and Jax. My name is Sam Christmas, and Dan used to be one of my teachers in elementary and middle school. Listen, first of all right, I'll read the thing, and then I'll have to do some explaining. When I was in 4th grade, Dan was my PE teacher. And one hot spring day, he lined my class up along the side of the basketball court and told us that he had some exciting news. He gleefully reported that our school's principal had approved his request to take our class to the nearby park for swimming lessons. Needless to say, we were all ecstatic. After we had stopped celebrating and settled down, Dan proceeded to wish us all a happy April Fool's Day and told us to start running laps around the playground area.
Gosh. How old for this kid?
4th grade. Dan made me suffer that day, and I'm thankful that the good Lord has deemed it appropriate now to make him suffer by watching When Calls the Heart every week.
It is good.
In all seriousness, what's calling my heart is you guys. Thank you for all the endless stream of entertainment podcast episodes. They are always uplifting and entertaining. I will likely never actually watch a Hallmark movie or episode of When Calls the Heart, but I will continue to listen to and enjoy the pod. Merry Christmas, Sam Christmas. P.S. Bring back weekly episodes of Yo Gavel Gavel. It was streets ahead.
It was streets ahead.
Before we get anybody who's just going to tell me that I. First of all, did that happen? Yes. But for a couple of things. One, I did not make them run laps afterwards. That is, we are remembering different stories. Second of all, it was April Fool's Day. It was April 1st. And I taught elementary school PE, and that class had a lot of kids who had like family members that worked at the school, and I thought it would be a fun class to do an April Fool's Day joke. And it was a hot, hot day in Columbia, South Carolina, and I was like, gave us permission to go to the pool, and then I underestimated, I was 21 years old, how big of a deal it was. And Sam and I are still friends to this day. His older brother and I are really, really good friends. And I wouldn't do it again. If I could go back, I wouldn't do it again. But 21-year-old me was dead wrong there.
But you're saying that they didn't run laps.
No.
So you don't want us to believe the victim. Don't want us to believe the victim.
No. Sam is making this sound much more dramatic than it was.
Interesting.
I will say I did do it.
Interesting.
I thought it was a perfect age for that prank. I was like, what age? Any younger would be mean. Any older, they'd get it. They would figure it out. 4th grade is wheelhouse. Now that I have children that are 7 years old, I understand that it's mean. And sometimes it takes growing up to understand that. And I do understand that now. But you know what? There were like 12 kids in that class, and at least 5 of them have talked to me about it as adults, and they thought it was hilarious. So there's that.
Well, can I ask a quick follow-up? So I actually don't think it's that bad, and I think it could be really funny. I'm just imagining myself doing something like that, and then like being crushed by their reaction. Like, did they laugh, or were they sad?
Did anyone cry?
They were like, when I said it, it was like that classic kid pause where they all took a giant breath in, like, and then they all screamed. And that was when that was when I knew. That was when I knew I was in big, big trouble. I was like, oh.
Did any of them cry?
Oh no. And I went, I just went, one more thing, April Fools. And then the second pause, like the wave hit them, and they just were like, no. It was terrible. It was awful.
And then you made them run.
They'll talk about that forever. They'll talk about
the
that
running,
forever.
Sam, you can text me. The running is not that. I'm not staying. Like, all these kids are in their 30s right now.
I'm going to choose to believe Sam. Sam's the one that ran the laps.
No, he threw the laps in to make sure everyone understood how mean it sounded. That's what he did. I didn't make him run laps. There's no world.
Well,
Wait, but what else would you do in PE
we didn't even have a gym in that. The school was so tiny. Like, it was like an outdoor basketball court, and like we played dodgeball like every day. Like, I was getting my history degree, and they had me teach PE. They had nobody to do it. The teacher like quit or something a week before school started. So they paid me hourly to do it. Like, and I was just teaching K5 to 8th grade PE. They each got it once a week, and it was like basically dodgeball. Like, it was not
just dodgeball.
Yeah, I wasn't like, no, come on. No. And here's the problem is that if there are any other students from that time period who are all like well in their 30s, have kids now, like, if any of them are listening, I know what's going to happen. They're going to also email in, and they're going to do a bit where they're going to make it sound worse. Please don't do that. Please don't do it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need, we get it. We understand what happened. I was young. It was stupid. I thought it was going to be funny. I still think it is funny, but was it right? No, it wasn't right. And
don't send emails to hello@deckthehomer.com. That's really interesting that he says that he ran laps, and you're saying that he didn't
run.
Well, you said they didn't even have a gym, yet they had a pool?
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. That's the April.
April Fool's was the principal. There was a pool at a park right down the street. And so so it was like.
Did you even try to get permission?
No.
That's actually a pretty good idea, though. Yeah.
See, at that point, I would have, if I would have seen, I would have been like, I have to do this.
I was like, no. I just was like, the principal's name was Mr. Collier. Mr. Collier approved us getting we're going to do a swimming unit where we're going to actually get in the bus and go down to the park.
Oh my gosh. You said a swimming unit? It wasn't just a one-off?
It was a unit.
Oh my gosh.
We know what units mean, man. That means multiple days of swimming joy.
Yes, it does.
Man, that's tough.
Well, I didn't make him run laps. Especially after that would have been brutal. Yeah, April Fool's got him. Now run your laps. No way.
Yeah, the laps
Run
are
your
what
laps.
makes it brutal.
That's brutal. All right, we did it, everybody. Congratulations. We'll be back tomorrow with our 1,000th episode, season 6 kickoff, and then we have a wonderful marathon happening tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And by marathon, it does not involve running laps. It involves sitting down for a long time. We will do that. Until then, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. What? For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.